hearing game sounds, I think we're ready to jump into the action. And it is going to be the pistol, so it'll be a Jett coming out in the pistol. This is going to be interesting.
And no Sova, something that we are very used to seeing in North America, not having that Sova here. It'll be the Cypher instead for Intel. We are seeing the look towards B. The aftershock gonna tag Midas down just ever so slightly, but now they'll look towards that push, and the Boomba gonna try to find out who's on the other side.
Might's taking so much damage here. His teammates bailed as well. The flashbang coming through, but qRaxs is actually going to get the kill with the bomb buddy. It's Might's also getting the elimination with the frenzy. Make it 2 for Might's. It's down to just 2 players here on the attacking side. Might's will get another one with that frenzy before finally going down to hoppY, the Sage. Ghost in hand, 1v2. Spike back behind.
I have the spike.
Able to pick it up and potentially head on over to that A site and get a plant.
Yep, but it could be the pump fake. You know, looking towards B long. Could be the rotation back over for the side of Team Turkey. They need to be vigilant and make sure that they are careful here. They could be, so to speak, jebaited, but now they'll start that rotate over back to A. And hoppY just in a great position here. Will have 30 seconds left to plant, but they'll split double duty. It's going to be the Sage player still hugging around Labs, and hoppY taking the long way around towards elbow, making sure that no one is on that side. A very interesting approach, but we'll actually get spotted here now around the corner. A couple of dinks not going to connect, but it's Turko that comes out on top, and Team Turkey with round number 1.
Strong pistol play from Mites in hookah. Going with the frenzy in the pistol round, kind of an interesting take. You know, we talked about that Jett pick, but it doesn't seem to hurt them too much as Turkey comes out swinging in the pistol. So the attacking side will be working with a lesser buy. It's an important round coming in here from the attack. Do some significant damage. Hurt that econ early. The economy of the defense, or the pistol round winner in general, is so awkward in that 3rd round. So if you take significant losses in that 2nd round, it can be punishing when it comes time to face off against the full buy Fury that's going to be coming in from the attack.
Yeah, we are seeing that soft buy for the side of Team Turkey. Spectres relatively across the board. Going to be, you know, an investment for future rounds, hoping to get round number 2 here. The push in from France, looking towards hookah. It's a 4-stack, ready to lock and load and make their way in, but just being a little bit safer here. The Roomba going to come out clean a little bit of that dust off the B site floor, and now that rotation will be called for the race player to come back. Mites, he's going to find one, mows him down with 3, still a couple more members left. And now it's all down to one final player. It's AzoX. And paura will be the one that takes him down. A pretty understandable round, a flawless one at that. But now we'll move on to the full buy from Team France for the first competitive round.
Strong play again coming out from Mites. This time with the Spectre, that you can see the replay. Mites catching 3 as they come out through the hookah window. Didn't really stand too much of a chance against that SMG. Now the buy is going to come in from France, though. And I'm kind of curious of something. If we can check this scoreboard, I'm wondering if the meta has adapted. No, it hasn't. So it's full Phantoms coming in for Team France. Whereas in North America, we've seen heavy shift towards the Vandal after the most recent update. Look at this aggression coming in. They've pushed through on short. Mites is leading the charge. Has to blow a knife just to try to get rid of that tripwire. Uzzziii catches 2, though, as they push down mid. Finally, Mites is going to peek. The knives coming out, and they're able to pick up the second. So they do equalize and make things a 3-on-3.
Yeah, and that's got to be brutal for the full buy coming out from France. They are now able to rotate over towards that A site. Of course, the information now was lost towards B, so they have to act based on what they know. But that'll give Team Turkey a couple of weapons to play with. We're seeing now that swap over from the Spectres over to the Phantoms that they were able to pick up, which, as well, Jett's still having that Blade Storm available. And on some of these, you know, lack of weaponry rounds, like the beginning where they had only the Spectres, the Blade Storm can be a great substitute for doing some damage. And we're seeing that's why Mites being the first one to push in. They're still on that site looking towards a short, as the rest of the team already now locked and on the site.
Nades going in. Here comes the knives coming out. Not going to make too much of a difference. The raise is there to lock down the U-Haul. Turko, the LMS with an SMG. And he looks like he's SOL. Trying to move in towards the site. U-Haul getting cleared. Could potentially upgrade, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So Turko's going to upgrade to the Phantom and bail out. I mean, cut your losses and walk away with the rifle. So, again, you see kind of that, like, economic juggle after winning the pistol. You're stuck with this weird money coming into that first full buy. Like you said, Mites pops the ult quickly. Very good heads-up play, pushing through on short, getting aggressive, taking the fight to their doorstep, trying to leverage that ability over the firepower coming in from the opposition.
But for the side of Team Turkey, would like to see the scoreboard just to see what their weaponry looks like. And, you know, now having the economy to at least compete and play, it's going to be the operator for Mites. And we talked a little bit about this in previous tournaments, but the reason for the Jet is to create repositioning opportunities with the tailwind, especially if you find yourself in a situation like this. One shot already down long, going to find Uzzziii, and now still looking around the corner. It's Cypher on the other side, but will he peek?
So this is something we've talked about pretty extensively, actually, throughout broadcasts. Early on, that Jet play won't be punishing. It's when you match up against a team that is even as you are that it starts to become an issue. You know, you're losing out on potentially some preventative measures. Maybe it's smokes, or maybe it's the flashbangs coming in from Breach. Or you lose out on some of that intel you would gain with a character like Sova, using that recon dart, using that owl, getting yourself some awareness, some map control. Speaking of map control, you've got Gotaga already pushed up on short, past that smoke, hiding back behind the boxes. qRaxs is here on short as well, over towards U-Haul. There's the ult coming out, and it's a rocket to the face of the Raze. hoppY gonna get a trade at least as Turko goes down. AzoX also picking up an elimination onto Rip. Mites comes in with the op, and qRaxs also gonna get one more with that nade coming out on the Raze. It's all up to Cypher, and the bomb buddy's gonna kind of give away the position. Nice shot from Mites. It's a 3K on the round. The op connects through the wall. Turkey back on the board again.
Yeah, Turkey just starting to rev that engine up and move on forward. 3-1 start for them, and they have to feel good about that. The economy not really in the greatest place for the side of Team France, but they'll still commit to some weaponry. Won't be the full Phantom buy across the board, but still enough members to compete and get involved in. For the side of Team Turkey, they're sitting pretty. Paura here with 5,100 credits. He's got more than enough to share with the rest of his team, but Mites on the operator, you got to get that weapon out of play. And, you know, really, probably don't peek A, or probably try not to be where Mites is. I mean, they tried to push A last time. Mites was there to kind of stop that push forward, but ideally, you don't want to be anywhere near that operator.
Early play coming out from Aura, getting taken down by Gotaga, so that's an early player advantage here, and they're going to explode off that. They've got the wall down. They're going for the safe plant. Camera goes up. Molly coming out from the defense to try and slow things down. There's the charge coming out from the breach. But as of yet, Spike has actually not planted. They're now going to go ahead and try and get that spike down. More action going on over towards this A side as the flash comes out. You've still got Rip back here behind these smokes over, and U-Haul going to run right into the Cypher inside the smoke. And somehow, some way, the attacking side's coming out on top of these duels. There's Mites with the elimination on the operator and brings things down to a 2-on-3. Again, Spike still not planted.
Here.
Yeah, and it's out in the middle. They got to find their way back to that spike because it's still a 2v3, very doable. Now it's starting to dwindle down just ever so slightly, all down to qRaxs. And it's Team France on the back of AzoX who will find that last frag, moving on to round number 6. You know, a very dicey situation. Spike down, not really sure where the defenders may be located, especially on that site. May have a general idea, but for the most part, a great job on Team France's end to kind of turn things back around into their favor. But Team Turkey now have to find an answer back for that round that they lost, and Team France feeling a little bit better.
They're also not going to have that operator in play, which is going to be a bit of a problem for them. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there was a final dink shot there onto AzoX, a one-tap. It was like the last bullet that was fired from the Phantom, so just one more shot and maybe something would have happened. There's the leverage you can use with Jet. So even though we talked about Jet maybe not being heavy in meta currently at this level of play, you can get those individual plays, and we've seen it from the likes of a player like Whitmer in North America, who really likes using those Jet abilities to get out in front of a fight or escape. And it works out nicely for Mites, who's really feeling it right now at the top of the scoreboard for Turkey. They've got a player advantage as the clock ticks down to 1:10. Spike's still sitting back towards this A site. They do have the Sage res, so there's an opportunity to bring that player back into the fold. And with Sage kind of siphoning back towards mid, we're likely to see the res in a moment.
Yeah, and with 50 seconds on the clock, it'll be a big 5-stack towards that B site. Of course, Cypher the anchor there, but with that res, that should call at least 1 or 2 members to rotate over from A, and you're seeing that call already. Might's going to be the one that leads that charge. Unfortunately, doesn't have that tailwind to reposition in a later fight, but Paura, he's going to be the first responder, finding AzoX there in the wood. Now the rest of the team going to funnel in from hookah. Let's see how he's able to defend this.
Again, that res did come in. They're going to try and use that player back in the fight. The Cypher's got the cam down, actually misses that tracking dart onto the Sage, so they're going to be able to get that spike out across the site and in towards the tuna can. With 15 seconds left, that actually would have been huge if they were able to prevent it. They're trying to spam through, and they're doing significant damage. The Sage so low. They're trying and trying, but the heal's coming out now on the Sage, and inside the tuna can, those wall bangs aren't going to do enough. So now it comes down to the post plant. The spike has been planted. The Raze ult coming out, the showstopper. Not really showing us anything as of yet. The rocket delayed, just holding on to it. Finally has to fire. hoppY picking up 2, though, with the Guardian, and it's all down to 1. It's down to the Sage coming in from spawn. It will be turko. 1-on-3. The spike ticking away. Satchel lands right in his lap. hoppY going to get the 3K on the round with that Guardian and tying up the score here for Team France.
Oof. Rough there if you're turko. Against all odds, 1v3. Of course, he did what he could, but you know, Team France coming out on top. A great plant from them, taking advantage. And really, I wouldn't say that the res was really that big difference maker, but still it definitely helped out. And now you're seeing Team Turkey on the eco. They've got some frenzies. They've got some sheriffs. And this is one of those Zerg rounds where you're just going to see them funnel on in through A short and trying to get some early picks. Those early picks could translate into some weapon pickups. We'll see if that's going to be the case.
Yet again, you see that aggression coming out from Turkey. With the ult leading the way from the Jet. Action likely to develop? No, they're going to back off. So they had that aggressive play early, and they decided to back off, but Mites completely obliterates Uzzziii. A knife straight to the skull, and now the flank coming through. A little bit of a whiff there for a second. Tries to switch to the Frenzy, doesn't have time. So a good trade back. Rip in the corner with the Frenzy. Pushed up in showers. That's going to make things a whole lot harder. There's another flash as well. The breach just being such a nuisance outside of showers. But decides not to push. It ends up going down to turko. Meanwhile, the spike is moving over towards the B site. So there will be a plant here, and the Raze is going to try and hold down the flank. But with that res coming through, you've got a 2-on-3 with the numbers advantage for Turkey.
Yeah, that is a rough situation, especially on an eco round from them. Now they have the weaponry to play, or at least a significant margin than what they had to start with. The Frenzy is going to be traded away for some much better improvements. Now we're seeing Gotaga. He's going to be the first responder to the spray with the Vandal. Going to find one. Around the corner they come. He's in trouble, down to 35 HP. He's going to hop out of hookah. Now the rest of the team, they have to either funnel through or back away with the weapons that they found.
The spike ticking away here on the site. They're trying to come in for the retake, but there's just not enough time, so they're going to be backing off. Really good heads-up play there from France to call an audible and head on over towards the B site. The Cypher gets away at the last second through the port, so no need to worry about losing that gun.
Close call there. Close call. I really did think Team Turkey had the potential, especially on an eco, you know, to push in and try to create that numbers advantage, which they evened it out, and then they were even in weapons as well, but maybe did not have the correct call there, or maybe that was what they wanted. Maybe they wanted to save the weaponry so they at least could start to save some of those credits, and you're seeing that on Mites and Rip. They didn't really have to, didn't really have to spend as much in comparison to the rest of the team, and that weaponry now actually playing quite into play. But this will be the first competitive round, and Uzzziii going to start us off hot. That's going to be Paura trying to answer back. But it's still AzoX and co doing absolute damage down log. And now a 5v3. It's looking dire for Team Turkey.
Good read coming out there from the French side. Understanding that Mites has been playing that aggressive peak pretty consistently over on that B site, peaking on long, especially with the operator. So that does give them that 2-player advantage. The Cypher ult gets popped. So the Neural Theft going to give away the positions. Meanwhile, a player has snuck their way over onto the A site. It's the Breach who's keeping Turko glued into position. Turko spots one, can't finish it off there with the Vandal. The recoil just gets away from them. The charge going to come through the default box. That's going to send Turko towards the backside of site. So they'll be able to get that spike across from short. The wall's going to go up. The smoke's going to go down as well. The plant going to come through here in a moment. So it will be a 5-on-3 post plant. They're going to try and clear out the showers, but everyone except for the Cyphers on site. Cypher currently flanking through spawn.
Ooh. Dangerous game that Cypher's playing. AzoX trying to get a great angle. May have to go through heaven to get it. It's Gotaga who's directly on the site trying to defend it. And now coming in from heaven, AzoX looking to do some damage. Gonna find one around the Tetris corner. Comes the raise. And still not going to connect, but it's Rip that finds the frag. qRaxs as well. He will find, oh my goodness, they just one after another. It's all down to one final player. It's aKeR, the Rolling Thunder. He rolls out the carpet, looking to do some damage. Around the corner he goes, but will they have time to defuse? But no, they won't.
They never had a chance to get that spike to halfway. If they had, maybe it's possible. So a big play coming out off the back of that Rolling Thunder. Even though he tosses out the Rolling Thunder and ultimately goes down, aKeR saves the round there for Team Friends. So it is an expensive round. Everyone eliminated there from the attacking side, but only one survivor on the defense as well. So I guess that's the icing on a pretty terrible tasting cake. You do have a full buy coming out from both sides. You've got the Vandals in play on 2, Phantoms for the rest. And then, of course, the big gun, the AWP in the hands of Mites. Let's see if Mites goes aggressive again. Nope, Mites this time going to play things a little bit more passively. He's kind of overstayed his welcome when it came to those aggressive plays. But speaking of aggressive plays, Uzzzii's going to try and sneak past this short smoke and does get up back behind the boxes. They are spamming, so Uzzziii has to be careful. Spots one over towards the U-Haul. Now wants to move in. There's one playing right around the corner in sight. Here comes the ult from the Raze. Going to satchel pack their way out. And yeah, there's not much that Uzzziii can do about that one.
Yeah, caught between a rock and a hard place, and showstopper to the face, going to do exactly what is needed. Now a 4v5, still undecided which site they want to go, just poking and prodding for information, and information they got with the showstopper to the face as a missed shot from Mites. Going to be brutal as he was looking for that kill down and through hookah. Now repositioning towards that elbow. As that cage will be triggered by paura, and now with that res, they will even things back around to a 5v5, but the paint shell is going to take them down, and that'll be the kill confirmed up against Uzzziii, back down to a 4v5 with a wasted res. 30 seconds on the clock. They're looking towards B.
And you're about to challenge one of the best players on the team for Team Turkey as well. The Cyber Cage is going to go down to try and obscure the vision, but there is a gap should they decide to push past this. There's the flash to try to open things up. Now they go in, despite the fact that the Cyber Cage has fallen. Missed shot from Mites. That was a big opportunity, but a follow-up is there. Mites wants to keep going for this, but with that ult coming in, the orbital strike delaying the plant. They've got 10 seconds left. They have to dedicate themselves to it. Heal coming out onto the Jet. qRaxs is actually going to pick up 4 on the round, looking for the ace. hoppY all alone on site. The Sage going to have to make things work from inside the tuna can. Low on HP, goes for a heal. Has the Phantom, smokes down from the Jet. That Cloudburst just about to pop, and Turko is there for the finishing blow. So a great round from qRaxs there as the Raze started out over on the A site, brings it back around over on the B side. Turkey's going to hold on and pick up their 4th round.
A very interesting first half from both these teams. You know, in kind of casting some of those early bracket North American tournaments, I tend to see a little bit more of a domination, but these two teams, we're seeing some of the best, you know, from their respective regions. And a 4-5 first half, we may see things as close as a 6-6, which then moving on to that second, it just depends on which team is comfortable with attack or defense. And we'll see how as that pans out in that second. But 3 rounds remaining in this first half, and it's going to be pistols very likely across the board for the side of Team France, as their economy is not really in the best place.
Mites having a great game here in the first match of the day as well. Probably the player I knew the most about coming in from the Counter-Strike side, given his runs through the national championship system with ESL. There's the ult coming out. It flushes out the Raze, so down they go, but Turko picks off 2. You've still got another rifle here on the site. That'll be Rip finishing off the damaged AzoX. Uzzziii, speaking of damage, 11 HP. It's all down to Gotaga. So a promising take at first off the back of that ult coming out from the Brim. But now it all falls into the hands of Gotaga with just a Sheriff, and Rip's going to close things out with a 3-piece on the round, tying up the score at 5-5. Just 2 rounds left in the half. We could very likely end up seeing a 6-6 with the way that this has played out thus far.
And now looking at the scoreboard, you're seeing the ult economy as well. I think that's super important to kind of highlight. Both stages relatively close to the resurrection, so expect maybe some orb control or looking towards, I mean, you can't force frags, but Turko trying to play maybe a little bit more aggressively, same as hoppY, to try to lock down those ultimates, at least for the remaining 2 rounds. But we are seeing the Newell Theft close, as well as qRaxs is close, so expect a little bit of ult play in these final 2 rounds, which can be the difference makers depending on the situations they're used in. But so far, to start us off, it will be Team France at a little bit of a spread out across bind, still looking for information. And this isn't something that we've seen too much from them, as they usually commit a little more to each side, but a great way to gather information at the start of the round and see where Team Turkey is lurking.
The Roomba goes out into hookah, trying to just sweep the area, clear things out. So they know that hookah is currently clear. They're slow pushing into that territory. It looks like they're going to head over towards B, which could be a bit of a problem. You've got Mites back behind Tuna. You've got the Sage coming in from spawn, and you've also got the Cypher up here in the corner over towards the pallet. On the A side, you've got the Breach lurking. A little interesting to have Breach on the lurk, given how he can really open up a site with that flash. And with the Aftershock, there's so many possibilities with the Breach when it comes to entering into a site. Now, the Cyber Cage does go down on hookah window. That'll slow things down just a bit. You've got Mites watching long, where the Cypher is potentially going to peak. With 25 seconds left, they pretty much have to dedicate themselves to this. Oh, that was almost painful. Mites almost dashed out right into the vision of this attacking side. Meanwhile, close, Aura only able to get 1 before being taken down. Sage back sight, also 1 and done. So now it comes down to a 3-on-1 despite the multiple players playing defense on the B site. The spike will be planted, and it's going to be a 1-on-3 for qRaxs. qRaxs able to pick up the first, but juggling between the 2 targets, just can't quite decide which one to fire at. 6th round coming on the board for France.
And if the defense have a good round here, we could potentially see a 6-6. Both resurrections are locked and loaded and ready to go, so expect to see a potential 6v6 here. Not literally, but figuratively. And for the side of qRaxs, he's got that showstopper available. Gotaga near it as well. The Rolling Thunder almost ready. So a lot of ultimates near that point where they can be used, especially if Rip gets that orbital strike. That could be detrimental to a plant if he's in the right position at the right time, laying it down towards the truck if they plant A, or laying it right on that tuna can if they decide for a late plant towards one of those sites. But to start us off, France, as usual, just getting a little bit of information, pinging out the showers. And Team Turkey, let's see how they do in this round. And can they tie things back up 6-6, or will Team France have a lead starting in the second half?
I really look forward to us having to explain the UI bug too. At least if it's a tie score, it makes things a lot easier for us. But we'll get that. We'll get to that when it happens. Once the second half kicks off. The last round here in the first half, we predicted a close game, and a close game is what we got. We almost always expect to see a close game on bind. We do have a pause coming out, so a bit of a technical issue potentially delaying the start of this final round. We'll see what the cause is of that. You've got Mites just goofing around in spawn, stabbing the wall. But looks like everyone is present and accounted for, so I'm not sure on the reason or the causality of the pause.
If you have a quick look at chat, it is just bleeding red right now.
It's pure turkey.
It is just turkey all the way. For those of you watching at home, let me know who your favorite player is on this team. I'm expecting a lot of rips to come out, but Mites has been doing quite well, all things considered, with the operator, even with the Phantom at times, getting those repositions with the Tailwind. I'm excited to see what the chat feels about their favorite Turkish player, but still France in the lead, so it's not over till it's over, all right, Turkey? But that pause, kind of the one thing that's stopping us from moving the play. We'll find out what that is shortly, possibly from our production team as we get that information for you. Let's talk a little bit about the repercussions of the second half. You know, we talk a little bit about map selection being more focused towards defensive sided or attacker sided. Bind being a little bit more evenly favored. Do you think France will have a little bit more success in that second half, or will it still be just as even?
I mean, here's the interesting thing, right? Like, we kind of talked about how the Jet doesn't really fit well in the meta, but typically that's a problem on the defense. On the attacking side, the Jet does feel maybe a little bit stronger just because you have that engage and disengage capability. So you can get that aggressive play, and when your Jet is feeling it like Mites is currently, that could actually be a massive one-up for them once they switch over to the attack. You can see 15-7 for Mites. Now I'm curious to see if Mites is going to continue with the AWP there on attack, or if they're going to switch over to rifle so that they can kind of like take advantage of that mobility coming in on the Jet. And they've still got the Cypher, so even though there's no Sova coming out, so you don't have that recon dart, you've still got some intel with the cams. You just don't have the flash, which is a huge thing. Missing out on that breach is actually a bit problematic. Now, they go for... The round does start, and they go for that camera play early on. The tripwire is down in window. Mites was playing up in that position, but decides to back off. The spike sitting back over towards the showers. 3 players on the A site. Sage, Brim, and Raze. Pretty static and standard from the Turkish side setup.
See what Team France decide to go for. Still a minute 10 on the clock. A lot of time to work with, especially now that they've set up some of those tripwires towards market. It looks like a big commit over towards A. They're going to use Uzzziii on the op to try to make sure they look at every single corner possible. Dot their I's and cross their T's. Make sure that all is accounted for. Now the swing here potentially from qRaxs is trying to have a little bit more information. And now with those smokes down, they may just either bait the utility, but so far it's just back and forth in terms of whether or not Team France will commit. Using that utility to drop down some of that information. But Team Turkey doing a great job of buying some time, using those smokes, using those slow orbs, as well as some of those breach utility on the opposite side from France. But it looks like it was the fake all along, just trying to use that utility. And now with 4 stacked towards A, Team France looking towards B, this is going to be a rough reposition.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough here for the Cypher as the Rolling Thunder comes out. The Cyber Cage is in. Might be able to get that elimination onto the Sage. That's actually a huge one. That's the spike going down. Camera still in position, still dropping darts into the bellies of this attacking side. They're trying to deliver a shot through. That camera is still alive. They can't seem to locate the position. Doesn't seem to make a difference.
Wow.
Uzzziii, despite being darted, picks one up with the AWP. And it will be a tie score 6-6 as we move into the second half.
Now, I just want to explain the spectator bug to our audience here, because it's going to get confusing. Hey, listen, we're pros at this now at this point. We've gone through hundreds of explanations, if not more. When the sides swap, they swap in terms of the players and the colors, but the scores don't swap. So
it's the other way around. The colors switch now, but the scores swap.
Well, we're gonna have to find out.
It used to be that the teams would switch sides and the colors would change. Now the colors just change and they don't switch sides, but the scores still do. That's
Point being, Team Turkey, they were on defense, and you're going to see the points go up for defense, but it is their points and vice versa.
Yeah.
We'll see how it actually starts to funnel in, because this round's going to be the first round where we'll see that bug into play, but hopefully it will be changed for the actual live game come June 2nd. But moving into this actual first round of the half, pistols locked and loaded for the side of Team France, and Turkey are looking towards A.
More frenzy play coming out from Mites, taking down Gotaga, who is playing close as well with that frenzy. You've got the Sage, who's got the wall back behind the other Sage wall, so they're going to boost up over top of this. hoppY trying to back off, surrendering control of U-Haul. Mites continues that dominant pistol play with the frenzy, and now Mites peppering up aKeR from the side after swapping over to the classic. That's 3 on the round for Mites, and the site going to be pretty difficult for them to get back into. AzoX does pick one off from heaven with the Ghost, but the spike is ticking away. Uzzziii now trying to flank through from short with the pistol. Uzzziii does pick off the Raze, finding the Sage on the other side of that smoke, but trying to get into the site. You've got a good crossfire coming out from Rip, who's just been patiently waiting outside the showers to rinse away the remaining members of Team France. So it will be Turkey taking the pistol.
Yeah, and just, again, short reminder, you are seeing Team France have a point on the board. It's just that the score is the only thing that did not swap at that halftime. It is, in fact, Team Turkey here with the lead. And a great lead at that. We're seeing 2 Vandals. Just might. How are you affording a Vandal and heavy armor on the second round? How many kills did you get that round? Wow, he's going to be one person that you do not want to be on the receiving end of a couple of bullets in this upcoming round. Team France obviously looking towards that 3rd round in the second half to have the ability to purchase. But I believe I saw a bucky, which is quite the investment from Team France, hiding in the showers.
I like the aggression coming out from France, getting that shower control. They've got the Sage over there. The Sage wanting to push up on it. But meanwhile, in hookah, there's a potential fight brewing. Nice nade straight into the belly of the Cypher. Even though Uzzziii does pick off the raise, the nade finishes off the remaining HP. AzoX low on HP as well from that nade that got peppered in towards the hookah area. But I like the heads-up play, getting into the corner. They're not going to anticipate another player being in this position.
Wait, they 4-spot. Usually you buy pistols when you lose the pistol. They have Spectres.
Yeah.
They don't really have a lot of utility on the side of Team France, so expect just raw gunplay to come out here. Turko going to start us off with the push-in. Now they'll look towards A with 2 members on the site, but one, I think, accidentally went through connector, and it's AzoX that'll pick him up and pick himself up. Yeah, another Spectre. He was not lucky in that draw. Now here comes aKeR, as they will start to funnel in through B. Still AzoX on the site with a 3v2 now. A very interesting round from Team France, using the element of surprise with the weaponry. Mites here with the Vandal, getting a couple of those pre-fire shots in through the door. Not going to connect with anyone around the corner. AzoX will be taken down, and with that plant, it's a 2v2.
A little bit of a clumsy round. They try to get in quick, and they do get the kill. The bucky's going to come out for the final one. Gonna send some pellets into the chest of paura as they go ahead and stick the spike on the defuse. So despite that pistol round victory, there will not be a follow-up here, as Team France is gonna get another one on the board and tie things back up at 7 apiece.
Oof. I'm very interested to see how these rounds continue to go on. It's just back and forth, and I love the element of surprise. The bucky, thank goodness we got a replay of that. I love bucky kills. They're just so satisfying. I don't know if they can compete for satisfaction from the judge. No, that is a gun that just nonstop keeps on giving. But I love that adaptation from Team France to force buy. I think it was the X factor that won them that round. You're not really supposed to win that following round after the pistol, because you don't really have the economy. I mean, you have the economy to force buy if you want, but not necessarily to get the Vandals that you want. And now Team Turkey don't have the weapons to play. Let's see how they act up here with pistols.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you ultimately hurt your money in the round that follows. Pickoffs over on long results in the spike falling. Meanwhile, they're going to try and make their way out of hookah, and that was a poor time to pull out a smoke as the brim goes down. A follow-up there from AzoX, but Turko gets the finishing blow. So it's a 3-on-2 numbers advantage towards the defense, but it's not a strong numbers advantage. And you've got the Bulldog struggling to take down the Sage here, so Gotaga couldn't get that Bulldog under control. Meanwhile, holding that angle, it's an easy pickup for Gotaga to close out the round. So it could have been a whole lot worse. Had Gotaga gone down, they would have lost control of that A side. They could have gotten a spike down, and they maybe would have had at least the Bulldog, but they could have had another rifle in play potentially from the bodies that were picked off earlier in the round. But not going to be the case here.
Having a quick look at that replay just to see how Uzzziii gets it done. Quick spray partnered up with AzoX. We're seeing a kill here from Gotaga. Lines it up. Holds the angle, gets the job done. Having a quick look at the scoreboard, let's see the weaponry the teams have to play with, and it's assault rifles across the board. But with Team France leading so far in the scoreboard, they are a round up, but that still means that Team Turkey needs to come and play, and they're looking towards this potential A push to start us off.
Yeah, just again, a reminder, the scoreboard's bugged. Not something that can be fixed, unfortunately. So you just got it. We'll keep checking the scoreboard at the end of every round. paura going to pick off the first. qRaxs actually gets in as well on the action, taking down hoppY. So they've got site control here. You've got Gotaga on site. Gonna heave out a grenade over towards the site in conjunction with that orbital strike. Nice. It ends up taking down the brim, and now the spike being dropped as well. As they went for the wall, the spike was stuck in default. They're trying to push through. It's mites coming in as those knives come out, dishing out slice after slice. It's a 2-on-2. Spike going to be picked back up, and they're going to go ahead and try and go for that plant. There is a tripwire down. So there's the dedication towards the spike plant. No, not going to happen. Gotaga gets a line of sight on paura. AzoX will find the final one. So again, France holds stalwart on the defense.
It's one of those scenarios that are just kind of too rough to overcome. When you're hiding behind, especially Tetris, it's a box that you can shoot through, and just trying to plant through it, they're going to spray down no matter what. I think Team France were in the... Whoa, that's interesting. That was a interesting thing that just happened to Mites. He somehow went through... He's even confused himself. He's kind of like, what the hell just happened? But now moving on to this following round, it is, of course, Team France in the driver's seat. Not necessarily foot on the gas pedal yet, but it'll start things off great for the side of Uzzziii, getting a great shot. And another great shot. Let's see if he can find one more. It's Gotaga that'll follow up on the other side to make things a little bit more interesting. And now down to a 5v2, Team Turkey in a hell of a lot of trouble.
The Rays over on that B site in hookah. Thought for a second we were going to see them jump out. You've got the Sage on short here for the attacking side. The spike is down. The defense looking strong, and it's all off the back of Uzzii's op play. It comes down to turko and turko only. It's a flawless round coming out here from the defense. So we're finally starting to see a little bit of separation between these two teams. You saw Turkey pick up the pistol, and you thought, okay, this is where they're going to maybe take over, and they're going to leverage that jet, that aggressive play that we were talking about in the first half potentially. But instead, France kind of flips things back around by picking up that second round off the back of a force buy, and they've won 3 since then, putting them at 10, double digits here. And again, you're going to have the op in play for the defense. No operator in the hands of Mites. So we talked about that. Will we see Mites leverage that op? But with the money the way that it's been, we're not even going to get to find out potentially, as rifles are the option of choice. Now Rip does take down Uzzziii. That was that aggressive op play over on long B, and AzoX desperately wants to go back and grab it, but the nade's going to come in and flush him out of that position.
Yeah, now with that cage down, they may be able to spot that op and maybe even pick it up. And without it in play, Team France may not have the ability to defend as well as they may have liked. Now that means Team Turkey look towards B. They are starting to prepare their rations here. Gotaga wants a preparation for himself as he goes soaring through the air, but Rip will be the one that takes him down. AzoX will turn things back around. Neural theft as well to give locations across the map, and that'll be information scouted. Now that might give Team France the opportunity to understand what they can do with the rest of this round. The camera going to spot a couple of them down long. That rotation will now be called from the opposite side towards B. But with 40 seconds on the clock, they need to act and act quickly.
The res does come out from turko, so Rip will be brought back into the action. The 4-on-3, numbers favoring France. Or excuse me, favoring Turkey. Yeah, that was my mistake. Again, see, the scoreboard even tricks us sometimes. AzoX trying to spam through, trying to prevent them from getting across onto the site. They do get across, but hoppY is here, up in the corner, in the cubby, but with the smokes down, not able to do much about it. hoppY trying to do something now as the smokes start to fade, but everyone has fallen off the site. I love the play coming out here from Team France in the post plant, or Team Turkey. Now France is trying to move in. Mike's locking things down with Rip, who gets a combo kill onto AzoX and hoppY. So a 1-2 punch from the Vandal puts Turkey back on the board.
Yeah, and we are getting dangerously close to that point where of no return for the side of Team Turkey. Team France up 2 rounds, 10-8. Less of a buffer than what they started with at the second half. Obviously quite comfortable, you know, at a 6-6, but now as we move forward, Team France having a much better time in the second half. Team Turkey putting up their second round in the half. Still looking to put up another one, but France so far feeling comfortable at the top as they continuously push towards B long, and Turkey just cannot answer back. Every single time they try to challenge, they end up losing that fight, and I think it's that buddy system that Team France have developed. They swing together. And now, still with 1:20 on the clock, let's see how Team Turkey plans up their execute. But it's not going to start great as aKeR will find turko in the showers.
paura trying to trade out as they do pick off one on long, but the op will escape and fall back over towards the B site. The spike in the possession of the attacking side. the defense here trying to slow things down as the Turkish side tries to sneak their way onto the site. You've got the Raze playing in position over towards qRaxs. Now it's mostly up to the Raze. The ult's going to get popped. The showstopper delivers. Rolling Thunder will come out from the breach to try and delay that plant. But the plant seems like it might be inevitable. No, they're not really paying too much attention, so aKeR's been able to sneak back around. The ult's going to come out as well. Great dash coming in from mights, but aKeR finds multiple kills on the site. So it's all up to mights now, who does at least get that trade. Spike's going to escape, head on over towards that B site, and go ahead and get the plant. The tripwire at least gives away the position for sure, but now it's a 1-on-3 as the heads-up res comes in from hoppY.
Yeah, mights has to get into a different position now. That post plant going to be crucial. They will all funnel out of hookah, so at least he has that going from the flashpoint. Not going to connect here. Used by the breach. Now trying to get into a better position to spray around the corner, but it's aKeR with a beautiful 5K that round, taking apart the opposition and putting another round on the board. 11-8 now, and Team France, they're close to finishing this one out.
It was a good play, a good attempt from mights, but really it was all aKeR. aKeR completely shuts that one down. mights' strong performance, 21-12, helping them a little bit here in the second half, but France pretty much in control at this point, just a few rounds away from potentially closing out our first series. Again, the AWP will come into play, and it's not in the hands of mights. It's going to be Uzzziii carrying it. mights actually on a Bulldog light armor, so you can see just how rough the econ is currently for side of Turkey.
Yeah, they're doing their best, but Team France, very difficult armor to crack, have been defending quite well in the second half, and that swap really benefiting and going their way. Turko with a great early frag. Might open up the round and put one on the board here, but still need to execute, need to decide where they're going to go with Team France now reacting. They will split 2-2 on each site just to make sure that they can at least defend any push, and it's AzoX here trying to make sure that B will be defended. Doing a great job thus far in this second half, but let's see how Team Turkey execute with 50 seconds on the clock.
They're slowly working their way up towards that B site. You've got the Cypher, over in elbow.
Get out of my way.
And now as the push comes through, a camera's going to get dropped. Very good heads-up play coming out from AzoX. Only gets to spot one player. The dart doesn't even get fired. Wall's going to go down, so AzoX effectively neutralized here on the site. Going to spam the wall down to try and open up an entrance in towards the site, but the spike's gone down. Molly comes out from Uzzziii, but it's actually hoppY who picks off mights. That's a big one to pick off, too, as one of the top performers here for Turkey is down and out watching from the sidelines. So it's a 4-on-4, even strength as they battle their way back into the B site.
Yeah, the post plant is quite great for the side of Turkey, as now they'll start to push their way through. Team France trying to make their way in. A great barrier orb to stop the push in coming from wood. That'll be one from AzoX. That'll be two. Looking for the third. They will find every single member, but there's one left. He's in wood, and it's hoppY that'll be on janitor duty as he cleans things up, and it's match point for France.
I like the satchel play coming out from the Raze too. The wall goes down on long, effectively neutralizing that player's position entirely. And the Raze is just heaving satchel after satchel into their face. Finally, the wall breaks, and hoppY just powers through, finding the final elimination on the round. Even if they didn't pick him off, it didn't matter. The spike was pretty much already defused at that point. So, again, it is going to be Team France here. One round away from closing things out. We do apologize for the scoreboard bugs. There's not really anything that can be done about it because of the way that the game is currently bugged. The production is trying to do their best to make it legible for you guys. So
nice.
The scores match on each side, but it's actually France who is on the defense here, and they pick off too early on. There will be a trade coming out from mights, and the heal coming out on the Sage as well. So full HP on everyone here on the attack, but Uzzziii drops the Cypher and makes things that much harder for them. Spike's still very much in their control if they can get across short to pick this one up without having to go back through spawn. But it's a 2-on-4, and they don't have the Sage res currently.
Yeah, a lot of repercussions if they lose this map. Definitely don't want to lose it here, but 2v4, odds stacked against them, especially when you've got somebody like Uzzziii who's been absolutely on fire. Not only this round, but all the rounds that we've had the pleasure of experiencing round 21. Could be the last one here for Team Turkey. They're working their way up ever so slightly towards A, and seeing aKeR's perspective, sees one through the pixel, and now hoppY trying to get involved from the side. The rotation back over. The Rolling Thunder going to try to slow them down, as it's the aftershock to stop the plant, but still 2 on the site and 2 about the plant. hoppY with 1. Still looking for that second. It's going to be down near the cubby, and around that spray will come through. It's hoppY that'll finish things off, and Team France winning around here for the group.